So, good morning, everyone. Today I was going to talk about Ascended Masters. It's been a couple days. I took a couple days off. Um, but I'm not. Instead, I'm going to talk about loss. I've seen a lot of death in my life. As a child, I went to many funerals for family. I've lost some friends. I've lost a lot of animals. And not just to death, just like loss in general. But we're going to talk about losing loved ones death-wise. First of all, I realized that energy never ends. So when somebody passes away, right? Or whatever, that is eternal and they will come back. There's many things. And in many ways, if that's their purpose. They may choose to stay off this planet for a while or go somewhere else. But their energy is always around. And if you're thinking of them, chances are they are around. Seen evidence of this many times. So, anyway. Lovely Facebook reminded me of my dog that I just lost. My boy, my child. The last couple of years, I lost both of my animals, both of my dogs. One was like a month under 2 years old. Lucy Sky Diamond, English Cream Golden, sweetest dog. And George Harrison. I had him for 11 years. But in the last 11 years, I've lost 4 pets. Eleanor Rigby, my black cat, who I absolutely adored. She still comes around and protects me to this day. So does Lucy, actually. And Ringo Starr, which I believe Lucy was reincarnated as him. That's a whole other story. And they meant a great deal to me. I've had animals since I was about 8. This is the first time in my life since then that I've gone without them. They bring so much joy and love into your life, They love you unconditionally. They accept you. They're always happy to see you, They look up to you. They just fill your whole life full of laughs and love and, just snuggling with them or whatever. And when they're gone, they're eternal, but they're not there physically anymore. And physically, like not having them there to cuddle, laugh at, laugh with, it can be hard. It could be really hard. In the last couple of years of my black lab Ringo Starr's life, he got terrible dementia. He just didn't know what was going on anymore. And it was hard to see him like that because he was a completely different dog. I love that boy. He was so funny. So funny and sweet. And Eleanor Rigby, she was kind of a lot like me, actually. She didn't like most people. She was very wary of them, I guess I should say. She would only let me pick her up. She wouldn't let anybody else pick her up. Her favorite thing was just to come lay on the pillow next to me and snuggle up. And she wouldn't do that with anybody. She was a clown too, she was a fool. She would play jokes on people, grab people's pant legs or jump out of nowhere, I think she fully realized that you couldn't see her very well in the dark, So she would jump out and mess with people, grab their shirt sleeve or whatever. Go meow. And And Lucy, bless her heart, she was a handful. She really was. She was like always getting into things, and she was tall, so she could get on counters, and she thought she was a lap dog, and she was probably 100 pounds. Ringo did too. He was over 100 pounds. Sweetest angel, though. She really was an angel. And she got cancer, and she lived those 2 years almost that Ringo was messed up, right? I mean, not during the same time, but it's interesting when you look at it. And then there's George Harrison, who Eleanor and George, well, all of them really, but especially Eleanor and George, which sometimes I think George was reincarnated as from Eleanor. He was there, and she was there for me through some of the hardest parts of my life, when I had literally no one, or I was being abused, and there was just lots of stuff, and they were there for me. There for me when I'd cry, there for me when I needed snuggles, there to make me laugh. They always knew. Animals always know, They're on a whole other level, I'm telling you. Protecting me from things, people and things. Eleanor still does that. But yeah, thanks to Facebook, I was reminded of George. Because it was like, past memory things. There's pictures of him. So, I just thought I would talk about it for a minute, because it sucks. I miss him. I miss them all. I miss having George and Lucy there. I miss having Ringo and Eleanor there. I miss them. They were my best friends and my kids. Sweet, sweet animals. And, you just can't replace that. You can't replace it anyway, But yeah. So, no ascended master conversation, loss, death, losing my grandma was a hard hit back in the day. Yeah, that was a real hard hit. I've lost a few friends too that was a hard hit as well, death-wise. But, yeah, it was a hard hit. I think that, I've had people in my life, I'm not going to mention any names, they've been family members who have said, oh, just get over it. Well, no, you don't just get over it, Maybe the pain isn't as much over the years, it's like the whole healing process, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there, And everybody's healing process is different. Sometimes it can take decades. Sometimes it could take your whole life. Sometimes it'll only be a couple weeks. I mean, it depends on the person and the situation. But you can't push somebody's healing and make them feel bad for missing someone or something. Everybody's path is different. Everybody's reaction to things is different, especially if they suffer from a lot of trauma. That whole healing process and missing someone and missing, your animals or your family or your friends or whatever, it can be a hard hit. And making someone feel bad for missing a loved one is probably one of the worst things you can do, to be honest. And not understanding someone's healing. I mean, everybody's different. Some people get over things fast. Or some people think they're over things and they're not. And you're mirroring things that are making them very uncomfortable. Because they're still hurting and they're unwilling to face that. Facing that and letting go of that, that's the important part. And learning the lessons through that as well. So, those are my thoughts today on loss and death. some point I'll probably go more into it, but I don't really want to trigger the shit out of myself right now. And I'll be honest, like, there you go, you know, the healing process. And I don't really feel like triggering really badly anybody else in the death department, because it is traumatic. Even if you know the truth of things, that energy never dies and people and things never die, not having them physically around can be, you know, a hard time. So, there it is. I hope you all have a great day. And maybe this could have brought some insight to y'all.